So, forgive my crazy hair, I just woke up, but I wanted to make this video because I just had this random thought about two people that I've had interactions with recently, and some things that I've noticed that I've kind of wondered about. And I like to just ask my questions to the universe or Google and see. So, two of the people that have that I suspect of trafficking me or being part of this harassment, I've noticed like really severe stutters. And then part of my like quest of knowledge, forever asking the question why, I just Googled, is stuttering the result of trauma? And it said not normally or not in all cases, but there is a type of stuttering that is caused from psychogenic or neurogenic trauma. That can be like a brain injury. It could be post-traumatic stress, abuse. So the people that I've encountered that have these stutter issues, it occurs when I believe they are reciting the scripts that they were told to use to harass me. And what I mean by that is I've run into these people on other occasions where I did not notice a stutter, and the stutter appears only when they are doing like this keyword activity that's part of this harassment. The whatever kind of, I don't know what this is that I'm experiencing, but I do know two people specifically, they develop a stutter when it comes time for them to recite their script. It's a nervous, anxious stutter. I don't know how to describe it, but they start repeating words as they're trying to force them out. It's like they have to remember they were maybe threatened even possibly into reciting a certain script, and if they don't get to finish it, like it makes it hard for them to speak. So both at my apartment and at my workplace, I've noticed this stutter. And I want to talk about trauma because that seems to be a good topic based on everything I've experienced lately. People trying to force trauma, trying to force a split. There is no split when you understand the people involved. When you look at body shapes, how people treat themselves, it gives you a good explanation of how they treat others. Bad body shapes don't care about themselves. And what I mean by that is I won't say it's easy to take care of yourself, but it's easy to have a desire to. And my first example is the foods that you eat. When I think about like video gamers and stuff, you go in, just imagine yourself in a gamer's room, and what do you see? Like imagine yourself at a gaming competition, say. Their foods of choice or snacks of choice are like potato chips. And don't get me wrong, I had Doritos Locos Tacos yesterday, so there's nothing wrong with it in moderation. But if your life, a majority of your life consists mainly of doom scrolling on the internet, playing video games, those two activities right there, what does that say about where your mind is at? It's in a fantasy land. Doom scrolling, video games, and then junk food. I have noticed, and I've spoken about this, maltodextrin is, I don't know how much more popular it's becoming, but 20 years ago, food ingredients used to be fairly simple. And I don't know what the reason or cause is now for all the additives in the food. With the world's population, we don't need food to be more shelf stable. We have enough people buying the stuff. Like manufacturers don't need their products to stay on the shelf for a year because someone's going to buy it and use it before then. So why all this extra preservative stuff? And then people who do not care about ingredients, like, I understand in your 20s not caring. In your 20s, you think you're going to live forever. Your body doesn't start falling apart till your late 30s, early 40s. You get 50 and you're like, wow, now I have medical bills. Whereas if you had people in your life with good influences, in your 20s, you will have taken care of yourself. So by the time you're 40, it's not even a question. By the time you're 50, you don't have to worry about doctor's bills because you ate well in your 20s. If in your 40s and 50s you're still eating like shit, I mean, there are people who survive. I know there are people who are 80, 90 years old smoking cigarettes. So everybody's different. It's your own body chemistry. You know what's best for you. But when I look, like, I've been watching YouTube and researching some of the conditions and diseases that people get as they age, and look at their body shape. The first thing is look at their body shape. And I want to say, are they drinking a diet soda? Like, how gullible are people? People in this world are so gullible that they think it's okay for me because it's diet, instead of, I really don't need a soda. Let me drink a water. Let me drink an iced tea. Let me drink something natural. I will drink, instead of drinking all the sugars and stuff that I shouldn't be drinking, I'm going to grab something zero, right? A specific company brand with 0 calories, aspartame, all kinds of stuff that you shouldn't be consuming just because they've made it so now it doesn't make you fat. It doesn't make you fat, but what does it do to your brain? Mind control can only be done to people who allow it. You allow mind control by becoming a mass consumer. The products designed for mass consumption were not designed to keep you alive. That's consumerism. They're designed to line the pockets of elite. They're designed to line the pockets of people who made network connections that allow them to produce products that kill people. What do you think lobbying is? I've never gotten into politics because they don't want me to. If you want me to start talking about politics, it is going to be a paradigm shift. It's a butterfly effect. Because there's a lot of people out there who I believe think I'm stupid. And once you start hearing someone you thought was stupid start telling you about real shit, it's going to change the whole way the world operates. I want to know how many gate kids, I want to know specifically about the minority gate kids who have experienced stalking. Because when you think about how supremacy is designed, they want to be the best, right? So if there are people out there who want to be number one and they get access to a list of people who are actually in the top 2%, right? What do you think their target or objective would be? Eliminate the people who have a chance of taking them out. Who am I? I am one of the kids that was put on this list in the top 2% that has been followed since I was in elementary school, with tabs being kept on me. I have a feeling a lot of California blue ribbon schools are modeled after some of the GATE program things. Because people in the GATE program describe experiences that I went through at a normal school in California that was a blue ribbon school. So we didn't have to get taken out of classes. It wasn't awkward because our whole entire class was part of it. So I don't know, like, I went to a couple schools and I don't know, you could probably find out which schools I went to. I don't feel comfortable listing information anymore because of how much of my information has been sold on the dark web. But the the fact that this continues and everybody knows who's holding the power, it should tell you about a lot about like our president, 45, 47, whatever. It should tell you a lot. Like, so let's say, imagine you are an heir to somebody who had generated a tremendous amount of wealth, but you don't necessarily have the same skills as them because you were handed everything. You didn't have to put in the hard work that your parent who made all that money did. So you don't understand the importance of the hard work. You think things should come to you easily because they have, and that's been a pattern for your life. So when things don't come to you easily because you have money, you get frustrated and you start doing illegal shit, right? Because you can, because you have a network that will support that. It just takes one bad apple to spoil the bunch. Now, while I am a creator and entrepreneur, I like open source stuff. I like customizable stuff. I like things that people can contribute to and make better. I don't want to be a gatekeeper. I don't want to hold society back because I have all the information and I stand a good chance of making money from it. And that's why we're different. That's how I'm okay with whatever you guys do to me. Because your main focus is a grift. You are trying to make as much money as possible. If money is important to you, let it be. You're going to be devastated when you have none. If you place zero importance on money, there's nothing that can really put you into a depression. Really. What does being social do? Being social causes you to spend money. What do you do? How many people have friends? There are people out there, maybe that's the tribe I'm looking for. How many people have friends that just hang out consistently and never have to go spend money? Like, even you're making dinner at home, that's still spending money. You're making dinner at home, but you had to buy the food for the people, for the friends. Having friends costs money. So if you want money, stop trying to be so social. If you want to be happy, keep all your pennies. Pick up the pennies you find on the ground. Like, you can't get to $1 without 100 pennies. So, and then what I see a lot of people who have a lot of money and they're just overlooking all the pennies, and that's okay. Eventually their money will run out. They're going to be devastated when all they have left is the pennies to pick up that they overlooked, but somebody else already got to them because they left them. Like, what do you place your importance on? What do you value? What do you value? My mother taught me about integrity. One of the things she used to get most mad about me for was when she knew I was lying. When she knew I was lying, because everybody knows you're lying. Everybody could tell you're lying. You're the only person who thinks you're gonna get it over on someone. Example, there was a kid on the critical mass bike ride I went to on Friday. And the whole interaction, I knew what it was, right? Most people do not approach me and force interactions like that because I think they know that I know already. So this kid, what he did, he like put his hand out for a fist bump, right? And so I gave him one. It's whatever. We're having a conversation where he goes into small talk. I don't do small talk, okay? He's telling me this story about his cat. I remember everything he said because it was pointless to me. And I had my cat on the bike ride with me, and it's just like pointless conversation. And then he puts his hand out for another fist bump, and I'm looking at his hand like, what is this? What is your insistence on making contact with me? Okay, listen to that part. So supposedly the proxy stalkers in my building have said that all they have to do is make contact. Previously it was just eye contact. Now it's supposedly contact. So they actually have to like reach out and touch me, whatever. So as this kid requests his second fist bump, I'm thinking back to this comment that I heard where all they have to do is make contact with me. And I'm like, whoa, this kid's so stupid. This is very obviously, you're one of them. And this is very obviously you attempting to get your credit or your payment for your stock. So I gave him another fist bump to see how it would go. His response to that, right? He turned around to his friend, very excitedly told his friend, that's how you do it. And all I could think of was, this guy is going to rape someone's child. Because he couldn't read the room enough to know I did not want to give him a fist bump. He insisted on making contact with me. And the only way to get him to move his hand from in front of my face was to give him a fist bump. So let's think about this in the sense of the Epstein files and rape. People who, like, I know I have boundaries. I could have said no, but I wanted to see where he would take it. People who insist upon getting something, those are the kind of people who will not leave someone alone when they say no. That's the kind of person who turns into a rapist. So going up to his friend is what made me believe that. Why would you tell your friend that's how your friend's looking at you like, oh my gosh, I gotta get away from this guy. He couldn't read the room. He couldn't tell I didn't want to touch him. That was a forced interaction. So that's just one example of little signs to look out for of dangerous people. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, who knows how many forced interactions he will have under his belt where he goes up to his friends and says, that's how you do it. How you do what? How you get someone to touch you when they don't want to? You just stand there and force it? That was my only, I wouldn't say it's a bad experience on the bike ride, but generally in my last 3 years of interactions with people, I found the bike rides to be less filled with the stalkers, because people who ride bikes, you have to be ready to go at a certain time or you're getting left. And the kind of people stalking me are not the kind of people who can get their shit together to make it out on time to a bike ride. The people who are stalking me are the kind of people who sit around their apartments doing drugs. They don't have the wherewithal to get out the house by a certain time with all their gear ready. They're not willing to do a 20-mile bike ride around Los Angeles. So critical mass has always been a good ride because it's people who really have something that they want to do, right? They have a joy in their life. It's a love for something. So when I come across people, like, it's weird. There are some e-bikes I don't mind. The e-bikes that have like good strong pedals that were more designed, they're hybrid bikes. They're more designed to be ridden as a bicycle with power assist versus the fully electric scooter bikes. While I was riding, like I said, one of the things I looked at was people's feet position on the pedals. I want to say 99% of the people who rode the critical mass ride, they know proper pedal position. I don't know if people really talk about it much, but it's something as a bike rider you learn, right? The most efficient way of making the bike move is to have your feet in the correct position. So every single e-bike I come along, I'm looking at their feet, and their feet are on the middle of the pedals. Tells me two things. Bike's not set up for them correctly, right? Position, awful. If it's not adjusted, it's not properly fit. Second part is they don't know anything about riding. Maybe they just have it like that because it's electric. It's kind of lazy to me. Then you see like the e-bike riders that know where to put their feet, and like, you're all right. The people that came out on the e-bikes. Nothing against them, but I look at you more like you might possibly be a stalker, because bike energy is different than stalker energy. Like, bike energy is dopamine, happy people doing what they love. Stalker energy is laziness, and that's where the e-bikes come in. If this makes sense, please like the video. I can tell you, like, there's happy people out there who have bike trailers for their kids, that their kids are actually riding in, because it's kind of a long ride and you don't really want to keep track of your kid. You know, it's hard. And then this one man I saw who had his kid on a bike. He's riding an e-bike though. Like, that right there, kind of a red flag, because it's two things that are alarming. You are riding an e-bike, which means you have no clue of how hard it is for your kid to complete this bike ride. Thankfully, he had a bike trailer. So, right, at least he knows, like, if my son can't keep up, I'm just going to put him in the trailer. It seemed a little bit selfish to me. Like, you should have had him in the trailer the whole time. It's a lot. Maybe you're trying to teach him how to ride a bike, but you should be on a bike too. Like, why are you on this electric powder bike? Do you have a medical? Maybe it's none of my business. I'm just overanalyzing. But with what I've been through, I identified that man as a stalker who brought his child out with him just to harass me. Because it's a bicycle ride, Cycla. No. What is this one? This was critical mass. So e-bikes are just a whole weird thing to me. If he would not have had the bike trailer, he would have been an awful person, and I would have certainly insisted that he was a stalker. The bike trailer was his saving grace. How do you bring, like, my nephew rode a 22-mile bicycle ride on a bike. He kept up with the group. We were all on bicycles though. Nobody had an e-bike. And it wasn't like an event where the whole street gets I wonder, parents, how much they care about their kids. I wonder. It seemed a little bit irresponsible, but at least they had fun, you know. Hey, I was worried for that kid the whole time I was riding behind him. I feel bad for him, but maybe he's going to be a little ripper. Maybe dad knows the kid is a little ripper and he can't keep up with the little kid. That's a possibility. Let's think positive thoughts. But just based on my experience with some of the scums in Los Angeles, that almost seems like what that was. There's this insistence on a voice file, which is what I believe a psycho, what do you call it? Like a psychiatrist manipulation. Somebody with knowledge of psychology would use something like that to force someone to stop speaking out against the abuse. So they would have an entire network of grifters walk around talking about, we got to get a voice file. We got to get the voice file. And what that does to any targeted individual makes them want to not give them a voice file. Because why do I want to give my harassers anything? Not me. I will give you whatever voice file you need. I'll freestyle. Do you want me to record the video on a rap? I'll make a rap song about you. You want me to have one where I scream and yell? I'll do those over brainwave, because you're not going to get a real life video of me having a crash out. It's non-existent. There's no paranoia. This is really happening. One of the reasons I flashed the airplane mode SOS is because crime scene investigators have this tool now where, should anything happen, they can see whose cell phones are attached to the network immediately around you. So every time I have trouble, like say updating my iPad, for example, after having my system at work attempted to be hacked or whatever, I'm gonna flash that airplane mode, because I believe if it's not through the cellular network, if my internet speeds are not being throttled through the cellular network, because everything I do for the most part is either cellular or Ethernet. There's somebody close by using some kind of signal jammer, which is the reason I do the airplane mode SOS. So if we come into a situation where there has to be an investigation, I want to make sure everyone within a certain proximity of me shows up on a list. I put you on that list. That's what the airplane mode SOS is. I don't know, I did it maybe like 1,000 times last night because my iPad wouldn't update. And then I plugged it into Ethernet. It took 10 minutes, not even 5 minutes. Right? I had to reset all my duo codes today because I don't know what's going on at my last place of work. I wiped out my Microsoft, my Google Authenticator. I never had it attached to any device. You cannot recall it from anywhere. At the minute that I was terminated, I wiped the entire authenticator out. So any access to my email account after 1:45 p.m. when I signed out, for certain after 2:10 p.m. when I walked out the building, is unauthorized. I shut the computer down. Nobody should be able to access that account except for IT from either the application. I don't even know if IT in the office can access it. They should not be able to. That's my personal account. If IT in the office can access it, they can do nefarious things. The IT at the office I worked at had posted, when I was in his office, he asked me to use a different computer, actually like a firm laptop, to enter my password, which I thought was strange when I could have done it from my computer. And then on his screen, I noticed the name of a firm that I'm supposed to be interviewing at. So I don't know if he's currently working for that firm, but it looked like he was logging in on the back end of IT for a different law firm than the firm that we were at. I'm still going to go on all the interviews. I'm still going to search every firm name with the word scam, scandal, fraud. Stop hiring me to do your bullshit. This is job trafficking. Going from a position that I've been confident in for the last 23 years and sliding into a position that allows, let's say, a group of people to steal millions of dollars, that seems very much like a setup. When I submitted my last timesheet, I'm going to tell you, Monday, I had to take a day off of work for the leak in my apartment. They had just installed Intune, they called it, Microsoft Intune, onto my computer, which created a single sign-on, which is something I did not want. I use two-factor authentication on everything. So it was very strange to me after I expressed some of the things that I suspect to be happening, that they would go from two-factor authentication to a single sign-on. I knew immediately, as soon as they did that single sign-on, someone logged into my computer, which is why I had to remove the server. And then what that did, it just added more time for me to complete my task, which was no problem because the last week of work, I've been left with several hours of the day with no assignments. So this is the greatest thing to happen. I'm waiting for the next update to the docket. Docket is public information. I have a feeling that they have enough money and they have enough network connections to get out of it, considering I got a letter from someone who works at the district attorney's office, which is who I made a complaint to, because law enforcement will not help. The stuff going on in my apartment, I've complained to the housing department. Legitimate complaints, not just me being a complaining bitch. Right? I don't have to do it multiple times. You don't want to help the first time. Something is wrong in your office. Who else? FBI, right? So I can't, if anything happens, go pull up. I've made 2 calls to the FBI. Both should be documented. IC3 has been filled out. this is still so much fun. I will never shut up about abuse. So there's that.